You are welcome to the Messiah Revelation Ministry, which is a prophetic end time ministry dedicated to spreading the gospel of the Messiah and to prepare the remnants for the arrival of the Messiah. Today we are talking about the restoration of Israel, the restoration of the Hebrews who are scattered all over the world. When will they be restored? How will the Hebrews be restored? If you are a Hebrew, are you ready for the restoration? Are you ready for your redemption? The time is close, the time is up, the time is near for us to answer the question, when will the restoration come? How will the restoration come? The restoration of the Hebrew. We have to look at the question from a prophetic angle. And for us to do that, I'll take you to the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 1 verse 6. Let's look at the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 1, verse 6. When they therefore were come together, when the Messiah was together with his disciples, they asked of him, the disciples asked the Messiah a question, saying, Lord, will thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel? Would thou at this time, immediately, this year, this week, in this dispensation, will you restore the kingdom of Israel? Will you restore again the kingdom to Israel? Will you give the kingdom of the Most High to the Hebrews? The Hebrews were impatient. They were anxious. They were nervous. The Messiah had risen from death, and he was together with the Hebrews. He was together with the disciples, and the disciples who were very anxious, they were anxious for the kingdom to be restored to Israel. And they asked him a question, will you, Messiah, at this time restore the kingdom to the Hebrews? And the Messiah answered them prophetically, and as chapter 1 verse 7 is the answer that the Messiah gave them. It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father have put in his own power. Prophetic answer: the time and the season for the restoration of the kingdom to the Hebrews, to the Negroes, is a time that is in the province, the knowledge is in the possession of the Elohim who created the heavens and earth. And it's not up to you, it is not for you to know the time or the seasons when the kingdom of the Most High will be restored to the Hebrews, will be restored to the Negroes who are scattered all over the world. I believe when the Hebrews asked the question about the restoration of the kingdom to them, they did not understand the prophetic importance of the question. They did not understand the prophecies regarding the Hebrews. If they had understood the gospel, they would have understood the gospel in Luke chapter 21 verse 24. There, at that time, the Messiah told them that you will be taken captives to all nations all over the world. Some of you will be taken into captivity in a land that does not exist, but it will be existing in the end of days. You'll be taken as a captive to United States, you'll be in Jamaica, you'll be in Haiti, you'll be taken as captives to all the four corners of the earth, and your city, the holy city, you will be trodden by Gentiles until the end of the Gentiles. And at that time, there will be some people who will call themselves Hebrews, they will call themselves Jews. They are not, they are the synagogue of Satan. And lo and behold, Jerusalem fell and the Hebrews were scattered, and commentaries have been written about that. And one of the commentaries is the book written by Rudolph Windsor, From Babylon to Timbuktu. As you are aware, the Lord implemented his decree in Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 elaborates on the curses imposed on the Hebrews as a result of disobedience, and it was the will of the Lord to scatter them to all the four corners of the earth, as stated in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. But I'm here to tell you that the time for the restoration of the Negroes, who are actually the Hebrews, the time is now, and there is a convergence of prophecies about the restoration of the Hebrews. When I talk about convergence of prophecies, I'm talking about different prophecies coming together. They are from different prophets, but they are together. This is what are called the convergence of prophecies regarding the restoration of the Hebrews who are scattered all over the world. And for us to do that, we have to go through Isaiah 11:11. The prophet Isaiah said, in that day there will be a root of Jesse. He is talking prophetically about the messianic title of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He is the root of Jesse. He will be an ensign to the whole world, and he will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah from where they have been scattered to Elam, Patros, Hamath, Cush, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, including United States, beyond the Atlantic Ocean, including United States, in Haiti, Jamaica, Tobago, Asia, Africa, and the islands of the sea. The Messiah will restore them when, in that day, when the root of Jesse comes. It means prophetically the restoration of the Hebrew will come in the end times. It will be by the Messiah himself, in the same way that the prophet Moses led the exodus of the Hebrews from Egypt. The Messiah himself will lead the exodus of the Hebrews from all the places where they are scattered to, and they will be restored. The restoration will not be by a political document. It will not be by Balfour Declaration. It will not be by diplomatic negotiation through the United Nations. It will not be the wishes of the Rothschild family who will decide when and how to restore the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. Convergence of prophecy. Let's look at the prophet Isaiah again in Isaiah 49, verse 6. The prophet Isaiah is saying, it is a light thing that thou should be my servant. The Lord is saying that Isaiah the prophet will be his servant to do what? To raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I like the description of the prophet Isaiah. In Isaiah 11:11, he's talking about the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. In Isaiah 49, verse 6, he's talking about raising up raising up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. The Lord has preserved Israelites. The Lord has preserved the Hebrews. If the Lord did not preserve them, they would not have survived through the ravages of the transatlantic slave trade. If the Lord had not preserved the Hebrews, the Negroes, they would not have survived through the calamities that were imposed on them during the colonial period, during the slave trade era, during the 400 years of slavery and captivity. If the Lord had not preserved them, they would not have survived to this time. So the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 49 verse 6 is saying that the prophet Isaiah will be the servant of Elohim to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel, to restore the preserved of the Hebrews, those who remain, those who will remain at the time of the coming of the Messiah, those who will be preserved for restoration. Convergence of prophecies indicate that the Hebrews who are scattered all over the world, they will be restored. And our brother Jeremiah, in Jeremiah 31 verse 10, is saying that he who scattered the Hebrews, he who scattered the Negroes will gather them. And so there is a convergence of prophecy. And the other day, the Lord was telling the prophet Ezekiel to gather two sticks, one for Judah and one for Israel. And if you read the prophecy in Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 16 to 17, you know that the prophet was asked to take two sticks and to join them together, one stick representing Israel and the other stick representing Judah. And that's why the prophet Isaiah is talking about the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah being gathered as one stick by the Messiah, the root of Jesse, who is coming. So the restoration of the Hebrews, the outcasts of Israel, and the dispersed of Judah will come at the end times when the Messiah comes to ask the question again. Let's go to the Acts of Apostles, chapter 1, verse 6. The Acts of the Apostles, chapter 1, verse 6. Will thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? When the apostles, when the Hebrews asked the Messiah the question, will thou at this time restore the kingdom to us, the Hebrews, the Negroes? The Messiah asked them, it is not your duty to know. It is not your responsibility to know the time. The time is with our Father who is in heaven, because the Lord Elohim himself had told Abraham his descendants will be sojourners, will be captives in a foreign land for 400 years. And after that, he will visit them, he will gather them. So the time is an appointed time, and Elohim is aware of his time. He doesn't have to be remembered. Resolutions will not have to be passed in the US Congress. Resolutions will not have to be passed at the United Nations. Decrees will not have to be made by presidents. Elohim himself, he knows the time and the seasons where he will restore the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. It is your duty to know, as The apostle said in Acts of Apostles chapter 4 verse 12, there's no name under the sea, on the earth, in heavens, through whom you get salvation except the name of the Lord Yeshua Jesus Christ, who is coming to restore the kingdom to the Hebrews, the Negroes who are scattered all over the world. Is it time? I'm here to tell you that it is time. The final trumpet of heaven has sounded based upon a revelation given to me on August 27, 2013. So the time is very close. The clock is ticking. I believe that the time of the Gentiles are up. You see Gentile powers being humiliated, whether you're talking about Gentile United States, Gentile France, Gentile Germany, Gentile Italy, all the nations, the Gentile nations that afflicted the Hebrews for 400 years, their time is up. The iniquities of the Gentiles are up. The Lord has heard their iniquities. The Lord has seen their iniquities. It is time for the Messiah to come and gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah, and to restore the kingdom to the Hebrews. To answer the question raised by the Hebrews, the disciples, the question raised in Acts chapter 1 verse 6, will thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? The answer is yes. The time is very close. The time is now. The final trumpet of heaven has sounded. The end of Satan has come. The iniquities of the Amorites are ripe. The iniquities of the Gentile powers are ripe. And the Lord is ready for judgment. And as part of the judgment, the Lord Elohim is ready to gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah, and to restore them as revealed by his prophets, Ezekiel, the prophet Isaiah, the prophet Jeremiah. The Messiah Revelation Ministry is here to awaken you and to remind you and to give you hope that it is time for the Lord to restore the kingdom to you, the Hebrews who are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. I'm leaving the links of this video in the description box. Subscribe to the channel, spread the good news of awakening that it is time for Elohim to restore the kingdom to the remnant, the preserved of Israel, the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. But you have to remember that his commandments need to be followed. You need to protect your Hebrew identity. You have to go under the rod for you to enter the kingdom that the Messiah is about to restore to you, the Hebrew, to restore to you the Israelite, to restore to you the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. Thank you for watching this video.